Hey, what's up guys, Ben here and welcome back to the OnlyAccies YouTube channel. Now quite a lot has happened both off the pitch and on the pitch for Accies in recent weeks, and I'm going to run through everything right now. So first off, we'll talk about the obvious thing, which is Brian Rice. He recently came forward and admitted to the SFA and to the club that he has relapsed in his gambling addiction and has been placing bets for the last 3 or 4 seasons. This is obviously a very serious thing. I don't want to trivialise it at all. It's obviously something that Brian has been fighting and something that he has had the courage recently to step up and talk about. There's been a huge reaction online about this. Accies fans seem to be backing him 100%, as do the club. Alan Maitland reached out to OnlyAccies because he wanted fans to know directly. We put a statement up on Twitter. I'll put it up on screen now in case you didn't see it, but he wanted to let us know and let the fans know that Brian Rice will be backed by the club 100%. I was on Clyde Super Scoreboard the other night and the Hamilton Advertiser have reached out to me as well for comment on this, and all I said was Accies fans seem to be backing Brian Rice 100% the way. They understand it's a disease he's fighting and it's addiction. He's had the courage to step forward and hand himself in, and he understands what he's doing wrong and he wants to fight back on this. Now we understand it's been something he's been fighting for a long time, and plenty of people came out and supported him. Alex Ray on Super Scoreboard came out and talked about his addictions. John Hartson has offered to take Brian Rice to AA meetings that he does twice a week, and it's become a really big story across the whole of the UK talking about gambling problems. A lot of people have been up saying, you know, how can people talk about gambling? How can there be laws against gambling problems when most of the competitions in Scottish football are sponsored by betting companies, you know, Ladbrokes, William Hill, and it's obviously a huge issue. I don't want to make this a big thing in the video. I've already said everything I need to on Twitter, and the club are backing him 100%. I just wanted to make it clear on our videos that we are backing Brian Rice, and we hope he gets all the help he deserves. But let's focus on the football. We travel to Hibs tonight to face Jack Ross's side, and we are hoping for a good result. Our prediction before the game was a 1-1 draw. We've had a good run of form recently. 2 wins obviously in our last 2 games, beating Motherwell just before New Year's, and obviously a 5-0 win against Edinburgh City in the Cup. Motherwell on a mixed bag of results, a win, a loss and a draw in their last 3 games, obviously drawing 2 each with Dundee United in the Cup, so that goes to a second round replay. And weirdly, I'm kind of confident about this. With all the stuff that's going on off the pitch, I'm hoping the players will put in a big performance. And as David said on the OnlyAccies Twitter, let's hope the football is what makes the headlines. But let's get into all the transfer news. It has been busy for Accies recently. Since my last video, McCann, club captain, has had his contract mutually terminated by the club, and he's joined Partick Thistle until the end of the season. It seems as if he is staying at Hamilton to be the under-16s coach though, which is something which was up for debate previously, but that's what it looks like he's doing. Now he's obviously only there until the summer, in which I assume he will retire, but I don't know. There was obviously talks I mentioned before of him going to Greenock Morton, however it seems Partick Thistle were his preferred choice, and since then he started against Celtic in the Cup in their loss. However, I know a few Partick Thistle fans who said he actually really impressed in midfield. He only got, I think it was maybe 65-70 minutes of gameplay, but he hasn't played football in a long time, so that's understandable. But Ian McCall, the manager, seemed very impressed with him, as did the Partick Thistle fans I spoke to. I think he will add something to their midfield. He's got the Premiership experience, and let's just hope that when he does come back as one of our coaches, because no matter what happens, he is an Accies legend without a shadow of a doubt. I'll put a few photos up that David did for Danny McCann and a few other tweets that people have put up for him. He's an Accies legend. He's the last player to remain in the playoff win against Hibs, obviously that historic day. He's the last player to stick around. He's been our club captain, but he's just fallen down the pecking order recently, and it's just a shame. It's what happens in football, unfortunately. But like I said, Ian McCall's impressed with him, as are some of the Partick Thistle fans, so let's hope he kicks on and does well for the rest of the season. And I told you guys this would happen. Luke Southwood has officially returned from Reading until the end of the season. He has, however, signed a new contract extension down at Reading, so he's not going to be coming to us on a permanent deal in the summer unless we're splashing the cash, which we won't do. Realistically, we need to make good of him while we've got him. We've only got him for the next 6 months until the end of the season. He was our number 1 before he left. It does, however, mean Fawn Williams drops back down to the bench. He started in the 5-0 win against Edinburgh City, but Southwood returns and hopefully straight into our starting 11. He won't start tonight against Hibs though. He's ineligible. He's not here yet. He returns to training on Thursday, so he returns to training tomorrow. But he will be in contention for Livingston on Saturday, and I just assume he will start unless Fawn Williams plays tonight and has an absolute world day. But who knows, we need to wait and see. But Luke Southwood has officially returned, and that is fantastic news for everyone at Accies. And I've spoke to Luke Southwood. He said he's absolutely buzzing to be back. It's what he wanted, and by the sounds of it, he was the one who put it through, because there was an article that came out where the Reading chairman said that he has no plans to let Luke Southwood go out on loan again. They plan to keep him, but he's back here, and by the sounds of it, Luke Southwood was the one who went to them and said, I've got a first team place up at Accies, you know, I like the fans, I like the place, I like the team, I'm going back up there. And they were like, alright, give you a new contract, here you go. So let's just get behind Luke Southwood, let's enjoy him while he's here. Let's enjoy him while he's here and hope he continues that good form he was having before he left. Now on to a transfer rumour. Now since losing Sam Stubbs, who's obviously a main part of our back four, Jamie Hamilton has then stepped up, but he's out injured at the moment. Marcus Fjortoft stepped in into the Edinburgh City win in midweek. Looked quite shaky, I think. I thought he had an alright game though, commanding in the air, but still looked a little bit shaky. Kieran McCann is still coming back from injury, so no sign of him yet. We do need to bring in a centre half, and that looks to be Sam Woods from Crystal Palace. Now Sam Woods hasn't played a lot of first team football. I believe he's only made 4 first team appearances. He hasn't been out on loan, so he's not been loaned out to anybody. He's only been at Crystal Palace. Now when I saw all the rumours flying about, I immediately obviously went over to Crystal Palace pages to see what they were saying. A lot of people were saying this is a good chance for them to get him in the shop window, so maybe they're saying he's never going to make it into our first team, so why we keep him on the books? It looks as if they're hoping that he'll be loaned out, impress, and somebody will buy him. If he impresses us, I don't see why we shouldn't if he does well. But let's talk about him himself. He looks like a carbon copy of Sam Stubbs. Young, tall, strong. Doesn't necessarily look the quickest, but we obviously will never know until we see him. Now Ben McNichol, who, you know, ground tops, who went down to Crystal Palace, said that he actually watched him and he looked half decent player. So let's hope he comes up there and shows us this. It looks to be done in the next kind of week or so, I imagine, hopefully in the next few days maybe. I don't think he'll be in contention for Livingston on Saturday. If he is, I'll be very surprised. So it wouldn't surprise me if tonight we see an unchanged lineup. Marcus Fjortoft and Brian Easton pairing in the middle. However, on Saturday, hopefully if Jamie Hamilton's back, it'll be back to Brian Easton and Jamie Hamilton, and then Sam Woods hopefully signing after that. So we asked Accies fans, what else do you want to see in this January transfer window? And the common response seems to be an attacking midfielder, something that we've been calling out for a long time. However, it doesn't look as if that's a priority. It actually looks as if it's going to be a fullback. An article came out today that said that Adam McGowan and Scott McMahon have both picked up injuries obviously recently. Adam McGowan came off just before half time against Edinburgh City, and Scott McMahon was also taken off at half time as a precaution. So I assume Scott McMahon will start tonight. Adam McGowan will be out, so let's hope to see maybe Scott Martin at right back. However, Golgic did fill in there and did a half decent job, so maybe we'll see him in that wing back role. But it does look as if that is the priority, getting another full back in. Now, Adam McGowan's contract is up at the end of the season. He's somebody I know for a fact the club want to keep down, but will we be able to? I'm sure he'll have offers down back in England for higher playing teams, because he's a fantastic player and we all rate him obviously. So is this looking for a fullback as a replacement for Adam McGowan? I hope not. I hope we can sign him on. We do need a backup right back though, without a shadow of a doubt. So if he gets injured, who are we bringing on? Nobody. Scott McMahon gets injured, at least we've got Johnny Hunt and Brian Easton going to fill in that role there. But at right back we're struggling. That's why you're seeing Scott Martin and Golgic fill into that position. But that's what they've said they're looking at. Haven't seen any names flying about for them they were necessarily, you know, fighting for or dying for. If anything comes up, obviously we'll update you on that, but it looks as if fullback is where we're going to prioritise. Now I did mention in my last transfer video that I do have an interview with Paul McDonald coming up very soon. It's a week today actually, and that'll be hopefully up a few days after that. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave in the comments, or you can contact me on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram if you have anything you'd like me to ask Paul McDonald. But as you all caught up with the Hamilton transfer business, if there is anything else coming out, I'll be sure to let you know either on Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, or you'll see a video on this channel. If you did like what you see, go ahead and hit like button down below, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss some OnlyAccies content. Thank you to everyone who's reaching out and supporting Brian Rice recently. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, but David and I will be standing outside the ground on Saturday before Livingston game with a shirt that we would like all fans to sign for Brian Rice, that we can then give to him as a token to show that we are behind him 100% the way. So if you are there at the game, be sure to show up half an hour before kick-off and you will see us standing with a pen ready for you to sign. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.